So once you, okay, let me repeat this. Go to new, click on data plus analytics and click on SD Insight. So here, this is your first step. This is the wizard here. It will ask for cluster name. Go to this GitHub account. Cluster name is really putting at IA001.
So for that we have to first subscribe and get it, then only we can do this.
Yeah, I mean for now it's okay.
Okay.
Because I will be giving you SSH details. So using your terminal, your MacBook, you can log into the cluster console. So this I'm showing you. So if you want to spin up your own cluster, this is how you will be doing it.
Okay.
But for hands-on, you can SSH with those cluster and then you can work on it. So this is my subscription play as you go, and pay attention to this cluster type. This is where we will be creating different clusters. So when you create clusters, correct, for people who are working on HBase, you will be spinning HBase cluster here. So for the HBase is as operating system, and then you have different versions for our HBase. So this is 3.5 for different versions based on what you want to do it.
So you can create like one cluster, only one cluster you can create for the $200 credit, or you can create as many.
No, you can do you can do anything you want with that $200 credit. You can create clusters. If you want to work with database, you can work with any. So essentially, it will charge for those 200 whatever the services you are using for the Azure.
Eventually it will show how much it will cost for this.
Yeah, it will show that. So for the big data, correct? So these are the different clusters type: Hadoop, HBase, Storm, Spark, R Server, Kafka, and interactive query. So like say for example, HBase I showed you, correct? Like people will be working on some Spark as well. So these are the different cluster versions here. So Spark 2.1.0 is the latest one. So people who are working on Spark, I would suggest go with this cluster, Spark 2.1.0. People who are working in Kafka, correct? Go with this latest one. Earlier they had 3.5, but now they have made it as 3.6. So this is what this will be there. So now let's create a Spark cluster here. I will show you why we need that with that. I'm creating a Spark cluster. So since we are doing big data, yeah, huh? No, it will it will create. So like when you create a Spark cluster, you will get Hadoop, HDFS, everything will be done for you. That's the reason I am creating Spark cluster. If you create a Kafka cluster, Kafka earlier version you had all this HDFS and everything, but now they just give you Kafka clusters. So when we will be talking with Kafka, that time I will showing you here. So just follow this. The Spark we are creating here, Spark 2.1.0. I would suggest go with this. That will be the latest, and then you will find that there won't be any issues. Click on select. Cluster logging username. Stick to these usernames. What I have provided here. Ambari username. Say Ambari here. So I'm giving the cluster Ambari, AMBARI, and password is so that we are all be easier for us to work with. P capital, password at 1234. P capital, password at 123. I believe I have given that. Password 123. Then secure shell username. For Azure, put it as SSH user. This is the default. When you log into SSH, you will have your home directory created based on this username. And click on this, use same password as cluster login. You can change that, but for this exercise, I am creating the same password so that it becomes easier to work around. Now, this is like create a resource group. Now, what is resource group, correct? Anything you do with an Azure, it tied to a resource group. Like we are spinning a Spark cluster, so it will ask for resource group is nothing but you are giving some permissions. Like here I can create a new resource group, correct? Is like like what is trying to say is that whatever the resources you are creating, you will assign a group here. So here, like say for example, IA IARG I'm creating. Yeah, it will align with this group. So tomorrow, if you create a database, correct, a simple SQL database, you can align this, yeah, map to this resource group. So, hmm? Hmm. No, cluster is just, yeah, cluster is just a cluster like okay. So don't take little meaning of cluster, correct? Cluster is nothing but group of machines connected to each other with some IPs and everything, correct? But resource group is just a logical grouping you are making a cluster. So today I am creating a Spark cluster with this name, cluster IA001, correct? Again, I will be creating two more clusters, and those all this will be tied to the same resource group. So that's how you make a grouping of this.
Any objects or entities within a group, they are shared across.
Yeah, shared across this, and then you can, as a IT admin, correct, I can give permissions and delete those clusters to others and everything. So everything is tied to a resource group. Resource group has got permissions and everything. So here I'm creating a new resource group, IA1RG. You can give and the naming convention, put everything in a small case. So Azure will be happy with that. If you give some capital and then it will complain. So let's give all these names. Location for the Azure, correct? There are so many different locations they have. These are all their data centers where actually your data will be residing. So if you are doing a project and then you want to have some performance improvements, first thing, make sure where your data lies. Like usually like when you work with Hadoop or like cluster distributed data sets, so it should not happen your zookeeper. I mean, terminology is little bit there. So your main program is in US West. Your data is in somewhere in Central Asia. So it doesn't make sense to have those kind of distributed, correct? So that's why they have this so many. So based on your use cases, select this one. I'm selecting West US. Click on next.
Is there any way something like Spark you need to keep it there? And from there, like, the other way if you want to try.
Yeah, that also you can try it. So because that might be like in some cases correct. Like suppose you are developing a project for any government agencies. For the government is very sensitive about data. How where your data is, whether your personal data lies within US or whether your personal data lies within Europe. So that time it becomes a kind of this kind of challenges come where your data is, especially with the organization. So this is how, but there is no as such restrictions where your data and where your clusters and everything lie. At the end of the day, it will be connected via some like IP address and that's it. That's it.
So it's location of your whole group.
Yeah, location of your whole group. Location of your whole group, you can do it. That's right. So the step two here, what we'll be doing here it says select a storage account. Earlier morning we spoke about storage account, correct? So storage account is very important. It's like a blob storage. So anything you do in your Hadoop and everything, Hadoop or your Spark or your Kafka, whatever you want to store it, correct? When you write programs, like people are aware of Hive or Spark or something, correct? Usually you write your data sets. So for this project, correct? Like I'm just giving it like when you will be completing this project. So your data sets will be residing in one of these storage accounts. That's how your programs will be accessing this data sets. It will be stored in your cloud. So here, let's create a new data set, create a new storage. Storage is very fundamental for anything. So I'm giving storage name as IASTG so that uh, we can easily identify. And when it says tick mark means everything is good, so it will go to next step. And default container, correct? So we have the storage account, and inside this there's a concept of container. It's like in Amazon you have S3 and you have buckets. So it's a container where you store your data here. So for
bucket.
yeah, bucket. So for this data set, correct, internal, external, where you will be working it, everything will be residing on this storage in this container. So let's give this name container a meaningful name. So we are good here. Skip to next session.
Can
We
you create
don't.
more than one container?
Yeah, you can create it. I will show you that. Like you can create more container. Click on next.
Basically, if you want logically divide your data, then you have to create multiple. There are two ways: one in the folders or two different containers.
Yes, correct. So now the next step is like validating all our like configurations here. Correct. So let's look at the first group here. Cluster name, pay as you go, Spark, cluster login username, password, resource group, blah 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 blah. Blah. Storage is there. So you can edit all this. This we are fine here. Additional application we don't need. Now the cluster size, correct? So this is what the nodes are. This is the head node we are creating, two, and there are four worker nodes we are creating. So we have a Spark cluster with two head nodes, and we have like four worker nodes. So now I want, and this is what the price we are paying for per hour, correct? Now I will click on this cluster size because I just want to show you what are the different options available. If you look at this, correct, head nodes and D12, D13, these are the different versions of Azure cluster VM virtual machines where you can configure it. So if I click on this one of these things, correct? First thing, I don't need this like when you are doing at your home or this, correct? First of all, I don't need four worker nodes for this exercise. I will make it as three. So the moment I make it as three, my pricing has changed here. Always work with three nodes. That will be better because there is some formula is there where you have master as n and n minus 1 and all those things recommendation. Because if you look at the Hadoop literature, like Hadoop literature, they talk about copying data from one node to another node and three nodes. So replication factor, so there you have it as, so at least have it as three so you can actually working on those things. And you will have
Mirroring for
mirroring and all the copying data and everything. Make it as three. Go to head nodes here. There are different versions here, and then it will display pricing here. 0.6 your cost and like depending on like what you want, correct? This is a 28 GB RAM, 56 GB RAM, 112 GB RAM. Likewise for the worker nodes, you have different if I click on view all, correct, you get all this configurations, and then it will talk about different configurations and everything. So let's make it as whatever default what we have here. And if you want to close anything, click on this close, and then we are there. So we are good with this. Click on next. And this virtual networks, like morning we spoke about virtual network, correct? So if you are working in like in a corporate world, correct? So now so we are spinning this cluster, but if your cluster needs to talk to some other network, like you have a machine or like your servers. So for example, your in-premise database, you want to migrate your database in-premise to this network, correct? So you need to have some connectivity. That's where you create virtual networks here. But in our case, we don't need this because this is fine. So we will be just spinning up clusters and there is no network connectivity within that. Click on next. So again, it will validate. So now for the people, morning somebody was working on these automations and everything, correct? So here we are doing everything using portal. Like click, we do it, correct? So for the automation, for the DevOps people, if you want to do this, correct? So you get these templates, just an FYI. So basically, what happens is that so like all this, what I did, we can do using scripting, using scripts. So what are different scripts available? Like basically what it does here. So you can use CLI. So CLI is like I will show you here what Azure command line. There is a Azure CLI is there. I forgot that. Yeah. So this is the Azure CLI here. So I just clicked on. I have installed it. It's very easy to install it. Once you install this, correct, and using Azure CLI, this is the command. So everything, the automation DevOps things, you can do using your scripts here. So you can spin up your clusters, you can upload your data to your storage, you can download it, you can do everything. You can write programs where you have a Java program, you want to connect it to this, or like you want to do automation, correct? Automation can't be done with click click click. You have to have this CLI command line. So, huh? Yeah, CLI is just a command, like a like command line interface to your Azure cloud. So like no. Wherever you are working this, so this I have installed it on my this Azure CLI. I have installed it on my MacBook.
It's just asking, is it specific to the Azure? Because normally if I log into my Mac, okay, I
Yeah.
use the terminal.
Yeah. This is specific to Azure.
Let's say if I want to work with Azure CLI, then you should have that Azure CLI installed in your
Yeah.
desktop itself. Install that subset as a program and then you can
Yeah.
start communicating.
Yeah. Say here.
One good
Yeah.
use case, right? You don't need to spin your Hadoop cluster all the time, right? You just respect enough time. So in your script, you just call, do that startup service, execute your Spark code, come back, and it's been shut down there.
Yeah.
So all the automation you can use this CLI script.
Yeah. Exactly. Hmm?
Yeah.
Yeah. That is for the Windows. You want to do it. So like here, so latest version is CLI 2.0. If you are installing, I would suggest go with CLI 2.0. That's the latest one, and it's very easy to install on Mac. Brew install Azure CLI. So if you want to really do it now, you can actually execute this command. Brew install Azure CLI. It will install at least Azure CLI on your machine, and then once it's done, just type in Azure AZURE. Are you able to download?
Brave install Azure.
Yeah, this one. Yeah, type this command as it is.
Open the terminal and
Yeah,
What should I do?
yeah.
Open the
Yeah, open terminal and then install this.
Brave.
Yeah, type in this command. Is that anybody not able to install?
Yeah, I'm doing it.
Okay. So yeah, all right. So basically, this is how you install CLI, and once you install it, correct? And once you install the CLI, you type in Azure, and then you get all those commands here. So everything, whatever you can do through this portal, you should be able to do it using CLI. Now, the reason I brought this CLI, correct, when we spun up our clusters, so all these details it has already created for us. This is our JSON file. So using CLI, if I want to automate this, correct, like basically the best use case is that today I am creating a particular cluster. This is a template it gives me. Like tomorrow, if I hand it over to Amit, correct, with the same JSON file, he will be also able to create the same identical cluster. So there will be no errors involved with that, and it's a part of automation. Does it make sense? And then you can just in an organization you use all these scripts to do that. So this is a CLI command. So this is like CLI is there. So,
You already installed now.
install, correct?
This command not.
Huh? Uh,
I think
We have to
Yeah.
install
you have to
something
install
first.
Brew first.
Yeah.
First.
yeah.
And what is the upgrade also it require?
In case you want to.
Yeah, in case you want to do it, like once you install Brew, and then you install Brew install this one.
So do we need to install first Homebrew or it automatically install the Brew?
No, Brew will be I think already installed.
What should we do after that?
Yeah, so let's type in this command Brew install.
Yeah, it is working in my case.
Okay, so Azure CLI success installation is done.
Yeah, it's not anything.
Yeah. So just type in Azure at the command line AZURE. You should see something like this.
I will be there, but I'm not able to.
Command not.
Hmm?
So we have to install first Brew.
Yeah. First you have to install.
There's an instruction there.
No, we
Yeah.
already did Brew.
No, Brew install you have to do.
No, I read that it says command not.
Yeah. Type in Azure there.
Updating Brew.
Brew install Azure CLI you do. Go to another shell. Go to another shell and try. Go to another shell window and try.
Another terminal.
Yeah, try that. Okay, I will like look at that, but like this is how you will be installing it. Is like any kind of Mac package.
How did you get to create this screen?
Okay, so cluster summary,
After
correct?
you create
Yeah, cluster summary,
Okay.
and this is the template you will get it, and then and then the final step you click on create.
Are you creating? You already created something.
No, so now our cluster is getting created. So this is our first cluster. Likewise, follow me. I will create two more clusters, and then based for these projects, you can work on those this one.
So Himanshu, with this,
Himanshu, why was Azure is not coming for us?
Huh?
Already
Yeah,
coming.
I will see that.
Batch profile.
Yeah, you need to upgrade on.
No, you are Azure, right? Executable file. You need to put in the batch profile.
Okay.
Yeah. So likewise, let's create three more clusters.
Two
So
more.
yeah, two more. So this one is getting deployed. It takes about 15 to 20 minutes. So let's follow me quickly. I'm creating different clusters. New data plus analytics, SD Insight. Cluster name I'm giving it as two here. Cluster type Spark.
Himanshu, in that, right, in day-to-day, how is this cluster getting created from Java? And then running from there.
Cluster might be manually also like this for a development. Like certain people have access to it.
Say for my project, right, every day you spin up the cluster.
Yeah.
So they'll use something called as ARM template.
Yeah, that's what the templates is.
The template what you showed us is
Yeah.
template.
So if you look at like what I showed, okay, again I will show you for this one. Follow me along. So I'm selecting select. Cluster name is Ambari, and password is P capital for all the clusters. For all three clusters, username is Ambari for the cluster. Password is P capital.
Himanshu,
Yes. Hmm?
cluster name is something you can assign underscore detail or
Yeah, anything you can do it. Huh?
no,
We will
No,
not
I,
use his
no,
cluster
actually,
anymore.
yeah. The thing is that then I have the scripts and all this.
So
So
how will everybody will create account separately or
no, I will share you SSH details.
yeah, you will share, but
Yeah.
the cluster what you have created, you are not going to create, right?
No, you won't be creating it.
That's what I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Just give that I underscore detail and airline and three
No.
category we need to do. Right?
Yeah. That to do it, but like for my scripts, correct? For my instructions, I have to change everything. Yeah, I have all the instructions like this, so that way I have to make the changes from that. Okay.
So
So you will creating
he
cluster.
is creating cluster, but it is his own money, right? So how will you will not use it as is.
Yeah.
The project.
So we'll take one of the cluster and do our exercise with airline detail and all. That's the what is time for giving the cluster name.
I understood.
Yeah.
But is he spinning it up and leaving it like that?
No, now itself. Whatever the time that you're going to practice it.
So yeah, all right. So like here, yeah. So yeah. So now, yeah. So now, username is there, correct? Resource group, create new. I will be using use existing one. And here we have already created an earlier for the one. So I will be using the same resource group here. Actually, let me create another one
So
just
one
to.
more thing.
Yeah.
We already have one Azure corporate account.
Yeah. I mean,
That's okay. We'll just do it then.
Yeah, I don't think like why usually you
yeah.
No, where is other corporate account? Did you create it?
no, but you check with
Check with Asad.
Yeah, we will check.
but everybody talk to everybody
File
talk to.
always fine. Clusters, it should be nice.
But you should use that influence.
No,
He
he's
is
not
already
getting.
No,
passed
no.
that.
He's not getting. He already passed it.
Yeah. Okay. I will talk to Ravi and then.
Yeah, that way you can
Yeah,
give
we
him
can.
first.
Yeah. All right. So okay. So let me create. Like I will make it as two here, so that we have all separate ones, so there are no issues as such. This is two. Create an RG.
Storage is
Yeah, storage also I will be creating different one.
So Himanshu, we have to
yeah,
spin off 10 clusters. We have to do it manually.
Huh?
You can
So
manually create it.
that's my question.
What?
No, if you have a spin of 10 clusters, so every time you have to 10 times you have to
No,
go
you
to
have the
new
templates,
entry.
correct? Like
The ARM
yeah,
template
ARM
you will
templates.
show.
What I showed you,
Okay.
you will be executing those templates 10 times using Azure CLI.
Okay. But then there
Using
we
a,
have to change the cluster name all the time.
yeah, that you have to change it, correct? It's like similarly how you create a database. So you have to create 10 database. What you will do?
So are they putting the template in the Java schedule? How are they doing?
Yeah, they might be doing it. So
No, see, once your cluster is up, if they want to create one more new cluster, they're starting new project, so they might not be changing same cluster.
No,
So,
what I'm saying is, day to day, I've moved it, minding the project to Azure.
yes.
Every day,
Yeah.
from on-prem, there is one file it goes to Azure. Right?
Okay.
So
Every time they won't create.
They won't create every time
they,
cluster.
they create every time.
No, if you are
Only if it
Not-
goes
no.
beyond, if they want it, they will go for
No,
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 let me explain.
every time they will create and that's why the
If
cluster.
you are creating your cluster every day, then definitely create with zero data. Yes.
Okay.
Then
Alright,
what
so-
you are going to do, once you move your file from on-prem to that cluster, after that, if you don't use that cluster, unless if somebody is using the cluster, only then they'll be able to access that data.
yeah, so
If you keep creating the cluster every day, then whatever the data that will be copying will be lost.
Yes.
so anyway, so guys, so here I am creating a second kind of like storage account with 2 STG. So this is separate cluster. The naming convention is 2 here, container, and I'm clicking on next. Any questions so far with this?
By using the same resource.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. I will I thought of I did it 2, but it's 1. So for this is fine. It's fine. So okay, let me I have to edit this. So you will be run into this required 40 available this. So let me make change this. It gave me some error. I have to make it as 3. So you only have 20 cores. So, okay, let me reduce the size of the worker nodes. Let me make it as basic. So I'm just making it like here I'm selecting this one. I don't need so many cores. So now I have this cluster. So now the cost is less. Click on next. Again, I don't need virtual network. I'm creating next here. So here again somebody asked for the template, correct? So this is what the resource template is, ARM templates. So once this gets validated, so this is what resource templates are here. This is what your entire cluster details is. So usually what you do, you copy paste this, you open in any terminal like this one, and then this is what you create your scripting here. If you look at this, correct, like say for example a specific use case, this is your parameters what you give here, cluster name, type is string, your metadata is just description of this field, the name of the edge inside cluster you will be giving, cluster logging username, type default value admin, metadata, cluster logging password, the location where your cluster is, the cluster kind, default is Spark. So this is ARM, Azure Resource Manager. Likewise, like ARM templates is applicable to everything what you do in Azure. Like if you create a database, SQL database, you can use ARM templates to do this. Now somebody asked about this, correct? This is an important thing, ARM templates. So now if you don't want to play around with this and like you want to do it here, so just do ARM quick start, quick quick start templates. they have templates. Azure Quick Start template. This is important. So just pay attention here. They have templates for everything. They have templates for if you want to create a serverless infrastructure, you want to create an Elasticsearch. If people who are aware of Elasticsearch or SQL database, they have templates for everything. ADF, data factory, you want to create a data factory, you just use these templates. They have templates for everything. Azure Insight, everything. SD Insight Spark Linux cluster. You just click on deploy to Azure with your account and it will deploy. And if you want to look at these templates, correct? This is what Azure deploy JSON is. This is what that templates they are using it here. So if you are like creating a storage or like you are creating an event hub or like event, everything you can do with this. And then you put it here parameters.json and then you give this parameters here. Cluster name, cluster logging username, password, SSH user, everything here. I'm just giving one sample example. You have literally for if I do command F event hub, you will be having template for event hub. Event hub create namespace. So you create templates and then you just click on deploy to Azure. It will get deployed here. So they have templates for everything. Just a quick start. Yeah, for the IoT. Like how we have Kafka. Similarly, Event Hub is for in Azure. If you want to do it, it will be done that way. Yeah. So just do Google search on ARM Quick Start templates, and then you will find all the ready-made templates for you. So within just 15 minutes, you will be able to deploy your cluster and everything. And like for the automation for the DevOps people, you can use this to create scripts here. So alright, so let's go to cluster here. Let's click on this create. So our first cluster is running, second cluster is there. Let me see if I can create my account allows for the third.
Third cluster
Hmm.
is enough using the CLI. So then at least you can go and pull.
CLI again, I have to see this one. CLI I will take that because then CLI parameters and like all those things will be. I have to give the configuration and everything. So basically this is the one. One more. Let me spin up.
Now we're starting with cluster. You keep the cluster open, and that means the other will start for 24 hours. So basically, invert the cluster delivery, the non-creating cluster. As part of the script, you have to provide stop and start. So whenever you want to use, start the cluster. One and the other instance on it.
Spark. So again, I'm selecting Spark here.
So that part of time, the fraction of time, they are just executing those things, right?
So SSH. I'm creating a new resource group here.
From there. Industry is the same. So you might be integrating the case such that whenever you are running the work, build the cluster, complete your work, and then copy it wherever you want, and then fill. Only for that duration you start.
So like if like here I'm creating a new resource group. So it says resource group 2 is already there. If you want to use, you can use existing one, and then it will create a drop down for you. Let me create a new one. I'm making it as 3 here. And location, let me put as West US. Okay, maybe because I don't have the usage here. I think that's fine because it won't allow me to do this. Okay, let's work with these two clusters first. So, all right. So one of the cluster is getting spinned up here. Is like deploying. So once your cluster is there, correct. Before this, you click on this all resource groups or like click on resource groups here. So this will tell you what the resource group is there. and details about all those within that resource group, correct? This is what your clusters are. Everything you get information for this here. Yeah, yeah. So it's like spinning up this, and let me do refresh here. So it will come here to this. So we have two clusters with INA with IA 1 and 2, and this is getting deployed. Let me click on this. So once I click on this, correct, I get details of all the clusters here about overview. So like automation scripts, quick start and everything. But for now, forget about everything. Let's focus on this. This is the cluster name IA001. Resource group is 1RG. Status running. Location West US. Subscription ID, which you will be having your own subscription ID. This is the URL of my cluster. Okay, and like so here, first let me log into SSH. So you can follow this one. Uh, can you type with me? SSH user. Hmm? Yeah, SSH. This one. Huh? Here, this one. This one. Hmm? Okay. I can do it on the Google Hangouts, correct?
Now, Google Hangouts, only the people who have logged in there,
Okay.
they are logged
Okay.
in. You can do one thing.
Yeah. So this type in this one.
Or else you can just share that URL with everyone. They'll log in into that Azure and from there they can copy that.
Yeah. Yeah, just type in SSH user at IA, and then followed by
7
7 zeros.
Wow.
Okay, so asking for password. Yeah, P capital, PASSWORD at 1234.
What is it? Site name?
No, P capital. Yeah, P capital.
No. First one, like SSH user at IA at 70 and after that one.
The one dash SSH.
P capital is that?
Yeah, P capital. No, at the 123. Hmm? Yeah, you are able to
Could
log
not
in.
resolve the host name.
Huh?
Could not resolve host name.
Just see whether you are logged into the network.
Dot.
You can verify it.
Yes. And password P capital at 123. So everybody able to log in?
Yeah.
Everybody able to log in?
Yes.
Hmm? Okay, you are not able to log in? Okay. Putty you have? Yeah, try it. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
What do you want? Azure is installed. Azure CLI.
No, AZ.
Yeah, AZURE. AZ? Okay. So AZ with for you AZ enter is working, correct? Okay.
What
So
should I do?
once that is installed, type AZ.
Yeah, it's there. Yeah.
So do you see that Azure is coming, correct?
Now, basically saying that Azure CLI, those are the commands you can use.
Yeah, command to talk.
Then you have to follow the syntax. If you
Okay.
want to remove
Yeah.
those commands.
So everybody is able to install it, correct? Cool.
Yeah. After that, what next we do?
No.
No, nothing. That's all.
Connect this one.
Yeah, connect this one.
Just come out
Terminal.
of
Terminal.
go to the terminal,
Yeah.
type that SSH.
And type this one.
Like the Python, user object, so that it is easy.
Yeah,
You are, spinning of three clusters, is it? 101 and
No,
What
two.
is the
Yeah,
SSH
two.
then?
Yeah,
What is
two.
the
I'm
SSH then?
yeah two. I'm spinning because my account has.
Yes.
SSH
user
user.
address A1
Yeah, IA at the rate IA.
again
Yeah,
470.
70. Yeah.
1
One dot. Yeah. One dash. Sorry. One dash. SSH dot Azure SD inside dot net. Inside dot net.
SSH dot.
Yeah. After this SSH dot is there. Azure SD inside dot net.
dot.
And hit enter. The password is P capital. Password at the rate 123.
So I connected the second one. Right?
Okay, that's fine. So like you connect to one, I will connect to second, so that I can demonstrate it. Otherwise, it will be like.
No, but here showing still I because you it's not showing complete.
Yeah.
Even though I connected it.
That's
Yeah.
your setting. Okay, it's not able to
Yeah.
log in.
So everybody able to log in
Yeah.
inside one.
No.
Huh?
What is the,
Okay, 1 minute. Let me.
what is the password?
Password at the rate 123.
Username is SSH user address.
Such as user.
Inside or inside?
User. Only a specific user.
User.
At the rate IA.
At the rate only.
At the rate IA.
Password is P capital at the rate 123.
P capital.
Huh?
P capital.
Yeah, P capital. P capital. PASSWORD at 123.
Yeah, connected.
All right. So let me connect to two and like connect to one, so that. All right. So this is the very basic thing. Any question with this? If you are able to do this, connect to SSH cluster. Pretty much you can do everything. So now with what like people who already know of Spark and everything, correct? From here onwards, everything remains the same. What we do to any cluster, to any Spark versions, you do same here. So let me just quickly run down with those things. Correct? Everybody is able to log in, correct? So I am logged into cluster 2. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, this is for SSH. So this is your like here now. Okay, so now you everything. Yeah, portal work is in. So you have created a cluster there using portal. So now you are actually working with your Linux machines, correct? Yeah. So
Yeah, logged in.
logged in. Okay, with everybody is logged in, correct? So now just for the one thing, correct? So the first thing about this, type in spark dash submit. So sorry, Spark shell. Follow me. Spark dash shell and hit enter. Yeah, Spark. This one. This command. Yeah, and like hit enter and like wait. So like what we are doing here, it will launch your Spark shell.
So we can launch the PySpark as well, similarly.
Yeah, similarly, exactly. So from now onwards, what you do with your Spark and everything remain the same here. Okay.
Don't you pay any?
Already
type in spark dash shell and hit enter.
Address already used.
Just
Huh?
Address already used.
take note on it.
Okay, maybe
Yeah,
like
maybe because
yeah,
To share the URL. Like,
yeah, multiple users. That's why.
I
Anyway,
created a
that's
Slack
fine.
channel.
So like if
only
like
one join
yeah,
and,
only if like
yeah,
if
I
anybody
created it.
yeah, if like anybody can just do it, like I have done for myself.
There is an error giving that service is for you could not be banned on.
Yeah, because somebody already is like working on that.
Yeah, it can be Scala.
Hmm?
Right? So, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like who was able to log in? You? Okay, all right.
He's
So
attempting code 404 and still can't.
yeah, that's fine. That's fine. So one will be able to do it. So like just follow me. So this is what your Scala programs are. So Scala programs is like how you do your data sets and everything, correct? So for this exercise, as you mentioned, you will be working on something like this. So now I'm doing Control D here, Control C. I have exited from the Scala shell. So with the Spark shell, correct? Scala, you can write your own programs here, like this. Okay. Similarly, for py Spark, you can type in py Spark and hit enter. So now using Python, you can write your Python script. I will show you that, but just type in Python
Do
here.
you want me to exit now? Scala?
Do control C and like type in py Spark. So now this is our Python shell here, py Spark. Huh? Yeah, py Spark, and here you can write your I will show you that, like what are the
So shall we
programs.
come out of the Scala now?
Yeah, come out with that. Control C, you can do it. I will also come out. But the reason I'm spending time on this is the very basic things. So if you can do this, you should be able to do all that. Jose, is there any questions or? No? Okay. Okay. So like if you have terminal, you can connect it and like try it out. Yeah. Yeah. So okay, so we are good with this here, correct? So uh, we have two clusters up. Now pay attention to this what I'm doing here. Yeah.
So you have this document, you can take a print out. And
Hmm?
you can share with people. The documents are there with you.
Yeah, actually it's there here in this. Everything is there here. I will just do it here. So this is about Spark, and like what I want to show you here about the people, correct? About all the different teams here. So with the shell, we are able to connect to our clusters. We install py Spark, launch py Spark shells. Now let's look at the cluster itself. So every okay, I have to show you because you don't have this one. So once you have this, correct, just click on a cluster dashboard here. So since this is a Spark program, correct? So people who are familiar with Spark, it will launch HD inside clusters. Jupyter, all those is like for us. So if you want to install at your home your Spark cluster, if you have two MacBooks, you want to connect or three MacBooks or something, it's a very nightmare to come to have all this cluster by on your own because it requires a lot of configuration files, SD inside, XML files, configure and everything. So this is what or like if you have sandbox, you can work without this. You can use Hortonworks sandbox and then you can play around with that. That's cheaper. But what I have experienced is that over a time, sandbox freezes for some reason, and it's very slow if you're doing it from Mac or like doing it here. So just quick SD inside clusters, Jupyter notebooks you have, Zipline notebooks, Spark history server, Yarn. So now let's talk about this project, correct? How you are going to complete this. So you have a Spark cluster running, correct? Now, first thing, let's look at this SD inside Spark cluster. So password is Ambari. I am giving it this here. For the shell, password or SSH user. For this, when I created cluster over here, I gave username as Ambari and password as same password P capital at 123. So I'm logging in to this cluster. Yeah. So once I log into this cluster, correct? This is what our actual UI is. So when you have Spark installed, you get all this dashboard. This is Hortonworks Ambari UI here. So you have SDFS. You have just quickly. I will go through this Zookeeper. You have Zookeeper servers. So this is a 3-node cluster. You have Zookeeper servers. Then you have SDFS. All those details for the SDFS. You have Hive. You have Pig, Zookeeper. You have Spark here, and like all this. So this is, I'm just giving you an overview of like what you can do with your this one here, with your cluster here. Okay. So like basically just to for this project, correct, what you want to do here, I will show you here. Maybe it's like yeah, I have not worked on that much, but what I am aware of that, if you want to remotely, correct, if you want to remotely submit your Spark jobs, you, usually how you submit your Spark jobs or something, usually you FTP to your cluster head node, you put your Java program and then you do it and then you do it, correct. So using REST services, you can submit your Spark jobs. Yeah. So I believe that's why you have that.
Yeah, head node is similar to Edge node that is using that.
Yeah. Same thing. Yeah.
So how to go there? Like, is there anything that I can directly go there?
Where?
Particular cluster?
Yeah, you can actually go through this because this is on public, correct? So
Do I need to type everything? Or is there
yeah.
I can do command prompt, no?
Yeah. Okay. So just go here. Yeah. Can you type in HTTPS 1IA? Yeah. You can. Everybody can go there. HTTPS. Yeah. 701.sd Azure SD Insight.net. Or you can use 2 for that matter. 2 is also okay because we have two clusters. And type in username as Ambari and password as password at the rate 123. Do log in, Amit? Huh? Yeah. So you can play around with that. Yeah. Are you able to log in? Let me know if anybody is not able to log in. In that sense, everybody is able to log in, correct? So let's do.
Can you see all are logged in?
No, I'm not aware of how we can do it.
Admin to admin?
No, admin is like like different ways of admining this cluster. Here.
So when you say like if I go to admin, the like services like HDFS.
Yeah, services, all those things, what they are installed and everything.
Like the HDFS of goods, like it's like agent side is what?
Yeah, yeah, SDP, Hortonworks. Yeah. All right. So just moving on, just play around with this. So this is what you do it here, correct? So if you have these clusters, so click on Ambari here, Ambari icon. So like for the Spark, correct? Click on Spark 2 here. Yeah, click on Spark 2 here, and click on Spark 2 History Server UI. Hmm?
How do you go to HDFS?
One second.
Yeah.
Actually, I created a Slack channel.
like just send to email, like you can type it to your.
Okay, yeah, where?
You got it.
Where here?
In the same email chain.
Yeah, same email.
Here?
Yeah.
Click here?
Click where?
You have Slack already, right?
Yeah, I have Slack.
Yeah,
Shall I
just
open
add
it?
that, workspace.
Yeah, I think you are not there, right? Yeah, yes. You are not part of the inside. I was part of it.
Just add that. Some
This?
yeah.
Here?
I'm also looking
Where here?
So you already in Slack, right? So you log in with your.
Yeah, I'm there here.
So just click add this workspace.
This?
Plus here.
This?
Yeah. And put that whatever in the team. This some icon.
This?
Yeah. Or log in with your email.
Hmm?
So yeah. Click it and log in with your email.
Which one?
Some email.
Yeah.
I will forward it.
Yeah. Okay, I'll just move on.
Yeah, move on. Like
Yeah.
it will be easier.
Yeah,
to have a hangout, right?
yeah, Hangout is there. Yeah. All right. Okay. Yeah.
At least messaging you can do, right?
Yeah. All right. So basically, this is what I just wanted to.
This is the developer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
log in
so-
with your email.
Yeah. So I just want to give you feel about Spark and everything here. Correct. So now let's move on. Everybody is able to log in. Correct. So SDF.
No, what
SDF.
exactly that you show are history?
Yeah. Okay. From here. Correct. So basically, like this is your main dashboard. Correct. So like if you are working in Spark, so you click on this Spark 2 here. Okay. So there's people who are working on Spark. So this is where you have Spark. I will cover this Spark history server and everything. This is where your jobs and everything runs and everything. So you can go through this here. And like people who are working in Hive, correct? You have Hive here. This is the data warehouse. So you click on this. Yeah. So click on this, and like click on Hive here. I know I'm jumping on through Spark, Hive, and everything, but I just want to give you like what all things you can play around and how you can complete the projects and everything. It will be very easier if you understand what needs to be done. So like everybody click on this Hive view. So earlier we spoke about Spark, correct? In console we can do it. I showed you Spark history server. So Spark, I will explain what history server is, and then click on this Hive here. So this is the sample database they have already created, Hive table here. Now if I do this, select star from Hive sample table. Click on execute. You can actually do this thing. So this is what you have it here. So now one quiz here. Morning we spoke about data sets, correct? So this data is coming in Hive and everything. So where this data stored? Huh? Huh?
Container.
Yeah. Yeah, HDF is where, but where? HDF is where? Huh? Content, yes. So the reason I want to bring out is that if you want to debug anything, that is the place here. So, yeah, storage. Yeah, so this is what your data is. So when you create this project you will be working in, you will be uploading to your storage, your data sets. I will show you where this one
So
is.
this one is connected. Terminal.
Yeah.
See that
Yeah, I will show you that. Yeah, I will show. So now this is what from the UI you can get it, from the Hive and everything you can create.
Who create this table?
This is by default it comes
So by
database.
Okay.
Default database, default it comes, and this is what it comes here. So let's I hope you have your terminals open like this, correct? Now, if I type in Hive, earlier we typed in Spark Shell. Now, click on Hive, everybody. Like if your terminal is
Come
there.
out of that the spark,
Huh?
Python, everything. You want us to come out, right? Spark system.
Yeah. Come out with this and like type Hive and hit enter.
I did not get my PySpark executed.
Okay.
Control C.
One.
Anyway, okay.
Hmm? No, we can.
No, I already did. I already come out.
Yeah.
Now if you put a high.
Yeah. Just go to that and type in Hive.
So the default is how much space will be
For
allocated?
space for the storage. Uh, I'm I'm not sure of that by default what it comes based on the configuration.
So when I order a lunch, so I think we need to go and pick it up from there.
Okay.
I tried using that service also, but how much is
Okay.
So it's nearby, so just let us know.
Yeah.
when we will start the
What time
class.
we will stop? We will take a logical.
45.
Huh?
45. I meantime you can discuss it well. I will bring it.
Okay. So everybody able to do it? Hive? Huh?
Sorry?
Okay. So Hive. Huh?
The prompt is coming.
Okay. Prompt is coming up, correct? So at least go with the Hive prompt because rest of the things remain the same. Are you able to do it? Yeah.
Maybe the reason is
Mine is taking a lot of time.
Yeah. Yarn memory is less.
exactly. So it's showing the right things on 100%.
Yeah. Because the cluster size might be less.
Hive customer acquisition does not exist.
This is because of the load factor issue.
Hmm?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So which database it connects by Hive?
Hive HDFS it will connect database.
It's a label-based data.
Maybe it's like HDFS database.
Okay. Yeah. So for you it came, correct? So just yeah.
But sometimes when we go here and create it.
Venki, are you able to do Hive? Okay.
Default means what?
All right. So I will just move on. So I just want to show you this one thing because now we will be doing the actual stuff here.
So you
So-
connect PySpark, Spark,
Yeah. And Hive here, correct? So now, so just follow me here. So I just want to show you the shells and everything here. So now let's look at the Jupyter. So now for your projects, correct? The quick way of doing everything, like tomorrow you can submit your project. So yeah. So like if you like are you able to? Okay, let me show you this Jupyter PY Spark here. So Jupyter is like people who are not aware of what the Jupyter is, like what you do with your shells here, correct? To your PY Spark, I will show you that. So we have commands here. Actually, I had. So like what you can do with this, you can do with this Jupyter. So, uh, so these are called Jupyter notebooks. So what happens here? The relationship between this, correct? PY Spark and and this one here. So if I type in any Python, let me do here.
How do you do that? Jupyter is right?
Yeah, Jupyter. You can go either through this because I went through this because I am through Azure portal.
Okay.
But you can try it out. You can type in. Everybody can type in here and see. Like, can you type in here?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like after this,
Typing where?
yeah, here in the URL.
And URL.
Yeah. So here I will be using One.
Typing what?
yeah the whole
Oh,
URL.
typing that.
Yeah. Type in the whole URL here.
This is just the UI editor, right? UI kind of
Yeah,
thing, where you
yeah.
can store your instructions and so
Yes.
on.
Yes. Yeah. Now I will show you why. Huh?
Jupyter is there.
Yeah. Purpose is like uh, so like you have this PY Spark, correct? So like I think people who are working on Python projects, so using Python scripts. So this is the shell.
PySpark,
Yeah, and like this is a Jupyter. So the reason because you can execute your Python scripts using these notebooks. So you will get all the information about your cluster.
But you can use Spark also, right?
Hmm?
You can call Spark also using Python. It's not called PySpark.
Yeah, so PySpark is for the Python scripting.
No, but why is PySpark?
No, it is yeah. Go ahead.
Spark, right? You can use multiple languages. There is language agnostic. You can use Scala. So when you do Spark shell, it will go to Scala.
Yes.
And when you want to do it with Python, you can use
I'm
Python.
not typing that.
PySpark is only for Python.
Right, only for Python. You are leveraging the Spark cluster with your Python code. And then you can have R shell as well. R Spark.
Copy paste.
So like
It is
that.
all under the Spark cluster.
Exactly. So
And then
you can
type
use
in
Java,
like Jupyter slash
all these.
Without typing that, how to work?
Jupyter. No, without that you won't be able to.
PySpark.
Because editor.
You
Because
can
I
use
am in my
Scala
code.
as well as you can use the
Azure
Python
I
code.
don't
So that's why.
No, this is what
It is for
your,
both.
Both. But that is only supporting
So if you
Python.
go to
Right.
from
Now,
here, I will show you.
difference between your Spark shell is you can just type in with step by step command. This is something like you can have a bunch of code executed line by line, and you can have them submitted on the cluster from the UI directly.
So yeah, so basically so okay, so there is one question here, like how I went through that PY Spark. So if you are in your Azure portal, correct? So the way you can go through this is that once you you have this one. So whatever your resources you create, you will be having all these clusters here. Currently, I have created two clusters, one with name 1 and 2. So the question is how I went to PY Spark and how we can do it. So once I click on this, we have this cluster dashboard. So you are spinning up Spark cluster, correct? So you click on this cluster dashboard, and there you see here as Jupyter notebook. So if you click on this, it will show you your Jupyter notebooks here.
Can we go to that dashboard?
Hmm?
Can we go there?
No, we cannot go there.
Yeah,
Not
no.
What you were saying, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
your own. Okay?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. But you can go to PY Spark
Yeah, I got it.
directly. You are able to do that. Yeah. All right. So now I will just show you, and like if one of you can do it, will be better, because the thing is that the reason is that, correct. I will show you, like if you are, this is a real world thing here. So now what is happening here? Okay. The why I'm telling you. If you look at this yarn, correct, it's taking about 100% of this memory. I don't know, for some reason. This is the first place where you look at your performance issues. So if all of you will be going to the same cluster and executing the steps, probably it will take forever to do it, or like this way. So just follow me what I'm doing it, and then we can take it, because otherwise this one will be, these are the small size clusters. So if everybody logs in, we'll have an issue here. So that's why I always look at this memory and things. So yeah, I'm also not sure.
It will allocate some JVM memory or something.
Yeah,
Maybe.
Yeah.
They want to sell that.
And within the Hive, we have started Hive, right?
Exactly.
yeah. So that's why.
The JVM instance for Hive and all this Spark shell,
Yeah.
Spark.
It must be instance for everything. Okay?
Exactly.
Yeah. So just follow me now. So likewise, you can just have your things created, and I will show you from the shell also. And then let us know when we have to stop, and then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you guys tell. You
Yeah,
guys
yeah.
already there. If you want, like, we are so hungry, then we will go and bring it.
All right. So yeah. So I'm creating. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm creating on the second one.
No, this not working.
So now this is this is what we are doing it in the real world as well. So the way I went here, correct. So once you have your notebook set up, click on this one. Learn the basics of Spark on SD inside notebook.
What is what? I order just maybe it will be done in the next 5 minutes.
Yeah. So in another 10 minutes, we will just stop this. So now I don't want to start the Spark itself right now, because I have a separate session for the whole session for the Spark and Kafka. I don't want to jump in. I just want to show here what.
So sorry to cut
Yeah.
you. So I think we plan something different.
Yeah, yeah.
Initially we thought we will go by Hadoop and all the things.
Yeah. Same way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
so-
based on that, like I think we
Yeah.
we show that we are doing
Yeah.
on the actual practice.
Yeah. That's what we are doing it here. So about this one, correct? So now you have the reason I'm showing you here. So you can actually
If you click on all those, it will not consume any of your credit, correct?
it will actually like execute these programs.
No, but if I open just the readme and everything, it will not consume your.
No, nothing. You can do it. All right. So I want to show you about how the Hadoop clusters are like spun, how you can work with your clusters, shell programs, command lines, your portal and everything. So now we will start with first session will be on Hive. I will be creating Hive because now we are comfortable with command lines and everything. Yeah, that I will talk about when we talk about Spark. Because- huh? Yeah, so there will be a lot, but I just want to get familiar with this. Yeah. So everybody is able, huh? Everybody. So now, my first things, and this will be quick sessions here. I have already uploaded all the details here. So the way you want to do it, correct? So now, as you mentioned, so we'll start with Hadoop here. So first thing here, SDFS DFS dash ls. Now what I'm doing here, you can actually do with me as well, who are logged in.
If you Hadoop or you to go directly then.
Yeah. Go to your shell command prompt. Type in this command sdfs dfs dash ls slash this.
But we are already in Hive now.
No, okay. You just come out with this.
Come on, no?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is
This
my
is only
table actually reside in the
I'm
actual
already in
Yeah.
SDFS slash LS, right?
SDFS DFS dash ls slash. So people who already worked on Hadoop, correct? What is this command? Very basic command. So yeah, go ahead. Explain.
List that directory structure that is in slash.
Yeah. Can I explain to the team like what do you mean by that? This
It's,
one.
it's
Yeah.
like
Go ahead.
it will list all the directories and files that is under slash. Okay, it's similar to Unix command of ls. Yeah, the other way that you can get this list is by Hadoop fs. Yeah, correct.
Yeah. So this is about basic things you do with Hadoop. This is the actual thing what we are doing it.
So what is slash is the root?
Yeah, slash is a
Slash
root.
is-
Yeah. So with the root everything. Now if I want to, like now you go ahead and do slash hive. Yeah.
So the one you showed us on the internet, I mean that URL, those are all actually
From the portal, from the
portal.
yeah.
Those are all books we can read, that's knowledge documents there.
No, py spark.
after PY there is a 6, 7 days.
No, there you can actually execute it. I will show you when we go to Spark. We will come back to that.
Right, this one also, the read and write data from Azure block storage, we can actually create the container, put the file there and then read and write from that. That's what it is.
Which one? This
So
one?
go to the URL.
This one?
Yeah.
No, this one will actually do it. These are the Spark programs. We will execute that. Yeah.
So we
You
will
know?
run those commands
Yeah.
in the shell.
You can do it via Shell. You can do it via Jupyter. I will show you both.
We used to
First
do
one
there
is
itself.
Yeah, there is one. Yeah. Since this is Spark, I don't want to jump to this. First, let's complete Hive. Yeah.
Let us go back to one
Yeah.
column.
Yeah. So this is about Hadoop basic things. But basic is very fundamental here. So you're logged into this. You do slash and you do slash hive warehouse.
Everybody is clear? I think those who not work on it, like me, I did not work on it and Nirupa, Venki, huh?
I don't know.
No, but
Yeah.
you guys already work on it, right?
So-
you guys want know better than
Yeah. So are you guys typing in with me? Yeah. Because if you type in the big data, you have to be like doing it. Then only you will understand it. Otherwise, it will be all like kind of.
No,
You will have a lot of.
the DFS, what are the Unix commands that will be firing? The student Unix commands you can fire.
So, can't I do like XJFS that LS and switch? No, I do not DFS.
No, DFS. You do.
DFS, for also you need to go. All of the commands that are.
Yeah. So now the reason I went to this, everybody type in this Hive warehouse sample, Hive warehouse. This is what I did here. My earlier command is sdfs dash ls Hive warehouse. The reason I chose this, correct? Because this is very fundamental thing. Now if you look at this Hive sample table, correct? This is the same table it's created. This is the folder it created. So if you look at this one,
The Hive one.
yeah, the high one, the earlier here. This is the same table we have here. This is the same table here. So the point what I'm trying to make here is that this Hive sample table, this table what you created in Hive. So Hive is a table. So you create commands, you create table and all those things. In Hadoop world, it becomes as a directory structure here, folder it creates. Okay. Now what we are doing here, I will go one more level inside this folder and see what it is. You can type in along with me, so it will be easier.
Everyone developed like how is it different from Linux file system in the SDFS?
No, I don't want to go in that theory. You want to go with that?
Yeah,
You can go with little bit, yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah.
Is everybody attentive on that, on the remote? Anup, Vijay, I think majority of them, like I think who already worked on Hive, already worked on Hadoop, they may not be find it very exciting, but like from those who are already never worked, they will concentrate on it.
Yeah, where here?
So Vijay, yeah, anything if you want to add, you can just add also, correct? You guys also, it's kind of interactive, okay?
let's
Password
say
I don't
this
know.
is your hard disk,
Huh?
here you have your hard disk,
Okay, let me see.
and this will be your normal Linux file system.
Okay.
Here?
So this will be a root path. From there you navigate it, just like SDFS, SDLS, right? SDFS, LS. So this is your Linux file system. What happened with Hadoop is you have the 64 KB blocks on your hard disk. You know your hard disk handle rotates and picks up that 64 kilobytes of it, data, the block of it. On top of it, what they have done is the GFS or the SDFS, what we call, they plugged these blocks together and they came up with a bigger size of 64 MB block.
Okay.
On the same Linux file system. Now, when you query here, you normally give LS. But here, when you interact with Hadoop, you give SDFS or Hadoop, DFS, LS, if you do root, it will take from the root. If you ignore this is optional, if you ignore this, then the default path called user, the SSH user what we have logged in is the default path. So now the 64 MB block size is because of the better throughput. When the disk IO right happens, instead of bringing a single 64 KB block, it brings 64 MB. So that's a beauty about this file system.
So that Hadoop SDFS is a separate file system inside a file system, right?
It was kind of virtual thing that it was providing to us when we do SDFS. But in reality, it is the same on the disk. But this is how you access the data, block code. 64 MB block code or 128 in that multiple.
So there's like a lot of 64 MB like at
Thank
this
you.
time.
Exactly, lot of 64 kilobytes of these blocks from this bigger one. And then you will have, if you write your file larger than this, it is going to be in chunks of that 64, 128. Now the 64 is with the Hadoop 1, with the Hadoop 2 it is 128. That is the default block size. You can put anything, but these are the better ones. They come up with this default figure.
So that Hadoop, whatever like we store, basically it will be in the entire file system, in this file system, correct? Or it will be like specific a kind of virtual area you mentioned, correct?
This virtual. You will have your hard disk with the Linux file system, but on top of it, whenever you have the file system of HDFS, you have this block. Kept it in short.
And it will be never integrated by if you put normal Linux.
Yeah, if you put normal ls command, it will interact with the Linux file system. If you do HDFS, it means that I'm interacting with the Hadoop distributed file system. Okay.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah. All right. So just moving along. So this is like kind of like fundamental thing. So whatever table you create in Hive, it gets converted to directory in Hadoop file system. So here I just want to print out the contents of this one. So type along with me. So that's all. This is the whole contents of the file I have. Let me share on Slack. Maybe you don't have to type.
Everybody in the Slack now?
I think sets people join.
Oh, yeah? You can able to Slack?
I will send the email like you can join there.
You do what? Please connect to your Slack.
Alright. Yeah, because of the space or something. Yeah.
No, are you waiting for
Yeah. All right. So yeah. So like we are good with this, correct? Yeah. So this is with Hive. Yeah.
This is like similar to like Linux is also inside like how Linux file
Yeah.
is same thing, right? Like,
Yeah. Same. Yeah. I will show you those commands and everything, but like follow me with this.
This is just the
Slack, but it's not
Okay.
of interacting with Hadoop file system.
Okay. After that everything is same like as you
Almost.
the terminal.
If you want to see the file, like the
I mean,
commands,
able to.
I'm able to do that.
Huh? Yeah. You have that command. Are you able to log into the cluster? Anything? Hmm? Yeah.
Yeah, I got it. Got it. I don't know why I did it. Every time I tried, last time also.
All right. So like moving on. So this is where your whole Hive things will start like this. So, but I just wanted to show you SDFS, DFS, correct? Yeah. I will explain about Hive and everything, but this is about where these files are stored here, correct?
But my question is it dot text only?
Huh?
Dot text, it could be anything, right?
No, it can be anything. CSV. I will show you how we will do it.
Okay.
But like so far, if you are with me, you should be
So
able to follow
I think
that.
we can just make a break here now. Okay, let me bring that food.
Okay.
Okay, and then in the meantime, we can just discuss your.
Yeah, in between who are not joined the Slack channel, like let them join.
Yeah.
So that it will be easier for Himanshu to just put it there instead of
Okay,
put everything at the screen. Like it.
So, I'm looking at this different file types, right? When you take the tables with ORC format.
Yeah, I will show you that quickly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the format also.
Yeah.
We will show you that.
If you want
ORC.
to discuss internally,
Yeah.
You have to download it, right? That's not.
Yeah. So like here, okay, in the Slack, correct? So now, so just follow this. Follow all these commands. I will be doing all these same commands. So just follow all these commands. But I would suggest, since everybody is doing it parallelly, so might be a memory
No,
issue.
I'm not doing it. This is
Yeah.
the same other day we created the tables and all that. So we can-
Yeah, same thing. Yeah. So everything is there in this. So we are logged into the clusters, actual Hive clusters, and like Spark. Meanwhile, let me pull up like some of the commands what I want to do it.
URL.
Workspace here.
Why not?
No,
Not
if you,
like that.
no, if you click the link I sent in the email, like you have to just create your ID.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Permission, location, ID you can create.
Okay. This workspace URL.
I'll share the link.
Yeah, there is. Okay.
So far, any questions you have, we can discuss. So anything you want to discuss.
Actually, we are going to do some of the around this Microsoft.
Okay.
So we have two scenarios like we have data in the big data, like big data clusters, like with high tables.
Mm-hmm.
So we are going to export this data to the Azure cloud.
Okay.
And then
So Hive is in premise.
yeah,
Yeah. So then you will be putting the data.
get a block storage, and we are going to find the SAC storage with the data from the
Okay.
format storage.
Okay. So like how do you plan to move data from in-premise to Azure cloud?
Actually, so we have done one maybe like that, we have done one case like taking the data and putting it into the block storage. I think we are writing some application, like some Java program.
Hmm.
So we are doing some kind of export, like once we have the data, and then that's when they have to maybe install the Azure CLI and then they run, and they want to move the data, I mean, from here to there. Again, once they process the data, again, then putting that data back into the Azure, I mean, like block storage. So they have a plan, but we can implement it. So we need to do some kind of activity on top of that.
Yeah, there are many ways to do all the same thing. And that's very common, moving data from one place to another.
Actually, here my teammate like Vijay and me, both are doing that. So we are trying to read the data from the block storage into the Azure. And then we did some analysis that this segmentation is not supporting the ORC format because all the high table also
It will be okay, huh?
we can support it. So we found out that it's not supporting, but we are doing some kind of analysis that this format is going on. So maybe there is other way that they want to read the data and then
Into?
actually we tried it yesterday,
Hmm.
but we found out that it's not supporting the ORC format and all. So we are doing
Yeah, stream analytics is like kind of input and output, correct? It's like
the
so.
format ORC is not supporting, so like the class and all the some other things, the format that will support,
Hmm.
but the ORC is not supporting.
Yeah, mostly they like JSON. I think JSON is the format. Yeah, ORC is for the Hive, correct? That's what you're saying.
All the data we are going to save in the ORC format. So we are going to save that data in the block storage in the form of ORC. Then so the stream is not getting
Hmm.
we are doing some kind of we need to do
lot of yeah, there are many ways to solve this. Which is optimum? That is a question mark.
Because all projects are going in the same direction. A lot of activities and data creation, all are in data creation and then the code language.
Yeah.
Then the going to the format and then the cluster and then the things about cosmos
Yeah.
and then block storage and then coordination and all. But people are doing all the things that in some kind of way, but they are doing some standardizing the format.
Yeah.
All things.
Correct. Yeah, because correct. Because even in the Azure world also correct. The same thing you can do it in many ways. The Azure, yeah. Your data factory is there. Then SD inside is the Spark. You can do with Spark. So if you talk about Kafka, correct? If in Kafka also you can do many things. Same thing. Even and like as you mentioned about moving the data, correct? So you can use Apache Flume also. Flume to just like move data from this similar to Kafka, but then you can put it to SD inside, correct? What I'm showing the reason this Hadoop DF5 structure this is important because this is the where your data will be stored in the storage. So you whether you have Kafka, you write program, you put it in your SD. Even like for the bigger things, like the Hive is there. If you just want to have a simple database, dump everything in blob storage in SDFS. So that's your database. You just write cat command, you get it. Or like Hive, you want to do some processing, okay, you put Hive on that.
Last time we explored one more thing like we have data in the block storage. So we have data in the like Cosmos DB.
Hmm.
So in the Cosmos DB again we export them as a
Okay, that's it.
because we have the you know the layer creation block. I think completely the data is block and the Apache database the Cosmos DB from there they can
Yeah.
Yeah.
we gather all the information, but we are thinking that we can provide the discussion, but the non-final
Yeah.
a lot of things are
So maybe to go back to my login from home.
Okay. It's occupied actually.
I think
Yeah,
I'm
no, you
leaving
can.
actually.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can.
Yeah, you can take my chair.
Yeah, yeah. So okay, so okay, so if I look at this, correct? Actually, I wanted to take that uh, this question. So if you look at this, correct? Storage account, so we created, correct, in the morning. If you look at this, so everything is like stored here in this blob. So blob is where even for this HDFS clusters, correct? So your data is like stored in this container. It's in the blob here. So if you look at this, like all these file systems, correct? So all this is stored in the storage blob here. and to be specific, correct? So this is the blob properties. So using this, you can actually access this. So this is your blob storage. This is a URL. So that's where you put your files and everything. So your Hive, your Spark data set will be residing here. So if you look at the URL, this is the blob storage here. Let me show you here. So this is it's a bytes format. Yeah. So this is where your actual the path of your blob is, correct? So, but when you look at the terminal here, so we are just looking at this one, Hive warehouse, Hive sample data.txt, and that from him, but like you have your blob stored here. This is where your blob is. Yeah, 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 yeah. So this is just a blob storage. It's a cloud storage. Uh, so like and like this is your path to it, and like if you want to access these files, correct? So either I can use this, yeah, using this HTTPS. This is your URL, or like through this, I can access the whole file. Yeah.
Yeah. Come on, guys.
Yeah. We'll start training.
No, no. What is this? What do you want? What is it?
They will actually write it. So this is where.
Oh, yes, you can write it on the grade. No, it is not both. This is B.
Will all be available.
Yeah.